Hello there, people of the internet. As is the case with many of my other videos, I got this idea while talking to a buddy of mine. Well, my buddy just so happens to own two very similar AK-47s. They're both Arsenals, and he decided to himself that he's going to get rid of them, or get rid of one of them because he doesn't know why he needs two AK-47s. So I was just kind of rubbing my chin, and I was like, you know, I have two Mosin Nagants 9130 models. They are very similar rifles. And he was like, well, why don't you get rid of one of them? You don't need two. And I was like, no, I definitely need both of them. Here they are. Very similar rifles. This one's 1943 production. This one's 1942. They're both Izhevsk round receiver rifles, so pretty much identical in every single way. I'm going to apologize if I stutter or have to walk away from this video at any point in time. Still not feeling all that great from my medical fiasco not too terribly long ago, but I am bound and determined to get out to the range today. So even if I have to walk away, I'm gonna fire these guns today. Now the real main difference between these rifles, the primary reason why I decided to buy myself another 9130, even though I already owned one, this right here is a non-refurbished 9130, and it still has a lot of the cartouches and markings and whatnot intact. And this one has clearly been refurbished. It's a factory refurbishment done by the Russians, but clearly been refurbished. But besides the refurbishment, they're both identical firearms. So why do I need two of the same gun? Well, one, it just makes me feel good. I love, like, those watching this channel know that I love the Mosin Nagant, however it is that you want to pronounce that. I love that series of rifles. Not necessarily just the 9130s, but the Type 38s, or not the Type 38s, the Model 38s, the M44s, the Type 53s, pretty much the whole family. Honestly, I'd like to get my hands on an 1891. I just like these rifles in general. But why do I need two of the same exact model of rifle? Like, these rifles are so similar, it's almost breathtaking. Well, one, I'm an American citizen. I live in the United States of America, and the beauty about living here is I can own as many of whatever firearm I want, to an extent. And if I want to own two 9130s, by all means, if I have the funds to pull that off, I can own two 9130s. Another one, and this is actually like a pretty big one. Oftentimes when I come out to the range and I bring a friend, these are the two rifles that I will grab, simply because A, I always have a bunch of 54 rimmed on hand, and B, compared to other rounds, it's actually pretty cheap, especially during times of shortages, and it's something you can always find. So, both of us being out here with a couple of 9130s just lobbing lead for fun, that's a good time, and analytically speaking, we only have to bring one kind of ammo. Occasionally, I'll bring out the M44 as well, but a lot of people are thrown off by its immense muzzle blast and concussive force. So, whenever you have more than one person out on the range, the 9130 is just my go-to rifle for having fun. Now, each of these guns is bolt action. They each hold 5 rounds. Like I said, they're each round receiver. This non-refurbished one does have the cartouches on the buttstock that you can actually see. That is really cool. And the two-tone handguard is also really cool. That's another thing that drew me to this particular rifle. They had a couple of 9130s there, but this one was the most unique, so it's what I went with. And then we have the refurbished one. This right here is just a little ribbon that I got out of a Russian spam can, and I figured it was fitting to tie it to my 9130. So that's one of the best ways to determine which one of these is which. This right here is actually my first rifle, my first real rifle that I got. Like, I don't want to say I own 22s, but like my family's owned 22s, and I've used them regularly. And then there's like the standard single shot shotgun, but as far as real firearms go, this right here is definitely my first. Perhaps I should reword that. My first centerfire rifle, that is my first centerfire rifle, that particular 9130 right there. I feel like somebody's gonna have their Jimmy Russelled since I said real firearms. Obviously a 22 is a real firearm, a shotgun's a real firearm, but hopefully the point I'm trying to make is coming across. Very interesting. They each have the same wear pattern from when bayonets were attached to them. I should get a 9130 bayonet. I used to have one a long time ago, but I have no idea what happened to it. Just one of those things that disappeared over the years. Now another key difference between these rifles, the non-refurbished one I paid like 200 bucks for a while back. The refurbished one I paid like 80 bucks for back whenever these were really, really cheap. And the refurbished one, I have stuck a lot of ammo through this thing. Like I'm talking 40,000+ rounds if I had to make just a quick assumption. Because back in the day, you could get those big 440 round spam cans for like 60 bucks a piece. And I know that we've bought like at least 50 of those, probably more over the years. Because what I would do is I would just grab one of those spam cans and I'd grab this rifle and just like after school, I'd fire this rifle until it got so hot I couldn't hold it. And I'd put it down, go grab something to eat, and I would just spend hours lobbing lead through this 9130. Like I sent an ungodly amount of ammunition through this rifle. As a result, the accuracy's not the best on it because the barrel's pretty wore out, but she still fires, and she fires accurately enough for me to make hits on target. She has definitely served her purpose and then some. Actually, the hand guard up here, the finish on it melted off like a long time ago whenever I was firing this thing pretty much all day, every day. That's not an exaggeration either. And I actually took a can of clear coat and I sprayed down the handguard again, and it worked pretty well. But like, just over the years of firing it more and more and more and more and more has taken its toll on the rifle, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. I remember whenever I first discovered that the Mosin Nagants were very, very cheap. I went down to a gun store here in Florida. It's a really big one. It's like Addison's Gun Shop or something like that. Tremendously large. And I saw one of these on the rack and I'm like, holy crap, that's a Mosin. Because growing up, like, you know, video games and movies and all sorts of stuff, I was a gun nut, you know, even growing up. And that right there was one of my, you know, dream rifles, because, I mean, I played Call of Duty growing up, Medal of Honor, I watched all sorts of war movies growing up. I wasn't just limited to American stuff, I was interested in absolutely everything. And I saw the price tag, I was like, "That you want $65 for that Mosin?" And the guy at the counter was like, "Yeah, it's just a Mosin. We have them by the millions over here." And I'm like, "Can I have it?" And he was like, "Never mind, I'm not going to go into that tangent. I'm just going to go ahead and lob some lead down range." We're getting really off topic here. Two identical 9130s. Why? Question you should be asking is, why not? This is the United States, and I have the money to pull it off. Whew. I've always enjoyed firing the Mosins in the morning. Like, whenever I wake up, I'll just get myself a cup of coffee and I'll walk out here. I haven't been able to do that since I've not been feeling well. I'm trying to get as much sleep as I possibly can. But I used to just get myself a cup of coffee, wander out here, send some lead down range. That's why the car looks the way that it does. Oh, I've sent so much lead into that car, I swear to God. And the 54 rimmed round, man, it smacks that steel really hard. So that's my first rifle, my first centerfire rifle right here. This 9130. And then I have my unrefurbished 9130. I will say that the refurbished one is way nicer to shoot than the unrefurbished one. Like the bolt, way smoother, the trigger, way smoother. Like the refurbishment of those rifles, I'm not sure if that's something that the Russians did or something that somebody did to that rifle later on, but it is polished up really, really well, especially in comparison to the unrefurbished one. I will say the unrefurbished one is way more accurate just because the barrel's not shot out though. Man, I love how hard these 54 rims hit. Like, I could really pack some damage into something with this thing. Very accurate rifles too, if you know how to shoot them. I don't know how to shoot them, so that's why I missed a couple of rounds there. Alright, well, besides this being the United States of America and the fact that I can own more than one, the only good thing I was able to come up with was their good, I don't want to call them budget rifles, but like value rifles. Like if I'm just coming out to lob lead, it's good to have my 9130, and then if I have a buddy with me, they got a 9130, and we can just lob lead all day and not really feel it. Even though ammo for these is more expensive, it's still pretty budget friendly, especially for what you're getting. I'm sure that somebody's going to point out the fact that you could, like, if one 9130 breaks, you could fix it with the other 9130, but like, why would you take the parts from the fixed one, the one that's working, and stick it in the broken one? You could just have the broken one on standby, you know, use it for spare parts and whatnot, but with modern access to the internet, if your 9130 breaks, you can replace anything on it very easily, very, very cheaply. There's no reason why you should have a broken 9130. Anyway, folks, I think I'm going to go hydrate and sit down for a while. Like I said, I'm still not feeling all that great, but I was bound and determined to get out here. Subscribe to the channel for more. If you like the video, do me a favor and actually like the video. Description down below is going to have a link to social medias and Discords and things like that. So go check that out. Alright, thanks for watching. If you have any reasons on why you would own two of the exact same rifle, by all means let me know in the description down below. One of the real reasons why I would love to own as many military surplus rifles as possible, especially in their original configuration, is to protect them from sporterization. If you're going to sporterize something, buy something new. Buy something that, you know, already has like a sporterized stock on it and whatnot. You know, Savage Axis. You can get yourself a Savage Axis for dirt cheap. Customize it however you want. Don't start cutting up historic pieces for sporterization. Alright, well, without any further ado, you guys go off, have a fantastic day, and of course, thanks for watching. Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.